Alright guys, here we are. This is on, I think, the second page of your worksheet. We're going to go through some of these problems. So this first one is talking about circling two that have the same number of neutrons, and the second one says circle two that have the same number of electrons. So for both of these problems, you have to go through and figure out either the number of neutrons for the first one or the number of electrons for your second one. So let's just do the second one right here because I think it's a little bit harder, okay? So, sorry, I don't know why it's not letting me write on it. So for this second one, it's saying that we need to find the two that have the same number of electrons. So this first one, this O minus, let's figure out how many electrons it has. So if you go to your periodic table, you'll see that O has a number of 8, right? So it normally has 8 protons. It normally has 8 electrons. But in this one, we have an O with a -2. So remember, the negative sign shows us that we need to have more electrons than protons. So that electron number needs to be bigger than our number of protons. So this O is actually going to have 8 protons, and it's going to have electrons, but we have to add 2 to it to make it bigger. So it's going to have 10 electrons. So this O is going to have 10. I write a little 10 next to it so I don't forget. The next one we're going to look at is BE. So if you look at your periodic table for BE, I believe the number it's 4. So it's going to have protons that are 4 and electrons that are 4 normally. But we look at this as a BE plus 2. So remember, we're still going to have the same number of protons, but we need to change our number of electrons. So I'd be asking myself, it has a +2 charge. So do protons or electrons need to be bigger? Remember, protons need to be bigger, but it has a +2 charge. So we have to make our electron number less. So this one, it has a +2, so we have to make our electron less by 2, so it's just 2. Alright, so BE has 2, so O and BE definitely don't match. So now let's look at our K. So next we have K, which K normally has protons. I'm pretty sure it's 19 protons. And so for this, our number of electrons would be 19, but if we have a K plus, we have protons that are 19, but our electrons would actually be 18. Because again, it's a positive, so we know protons need to be bigger. It's only a +1, so it's just 1 bigger. So this one's 18. So none of these match so far. So we really hope our F matches. So we'll look at F. We see that it has protons, sorry, I switched these. Let me switch them back for you guys, not to confuse anyone. Alright, so if we look at our periodic table, we'll find our number of protons and electrons. Our number of protons for F normally is 9. Our number of electrons for F normally is 9. Here we have an F with a negative charge, so our number of protons is still going to be 9. But remember, if we have a negative sign, a negative charge, our electrons need to be bigger. This one's just a -1 charge, so our electrons are going to actually be 10. So that was really lucky for us. We can see that now our O and our F both have 10, so those ones have the same number of electrons. These next couple questions, I'll do one for you. It says what the overall charge is of the ion. It has 12 protons, 11 electrons. So we have 12 positives and 11 negatives. So we have to think which one of them bigger. The 12 is, right? So we're going to have more positives. It's only bigger by 1, so this is a +1 charge. If you do the next one, you'll notice that the electrons are bigger, and it's 24 minus 21, so it's 3. So this one would be a -3 charge. Remember, bigger number of electrons, and it's by 3. So that's how you do the first ones. Let's scroll down a little bit to do the bottom half of this page. The one most people have been missing is this very bottom one, which symbol represents this element. So let's figure it out. So the first thing you have to figure out is what it is. Is it boron or is it sodium? So remember, to figure out what element it is, we have to count out our number of protons. So if we count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 protons. They're the red ones if you're lost. So we have 5 protons. Remember, our number of protons also equals our atomic number. So some people are getting confused about that, but number of protons equals atomic number, so this is actually 5 as well. And if you also remember, our mass equals our neutrons plus our protons equals our mass. So if we count out our number of neutrons, we can see we have 6, so our mass would be 11. Most people did that right, but we just need those numbers to figure out this bottom part. So if we look at our periodic table, we can figure out that our element has an atomic number of 5, or 5 protons. So we find it on our periodic table. We'll see that it's boron. So we know it's either going to be this one or it's going to be this one. So now we have to decide if we put 5 or if we put 11. So if you remember back to when we talked about isotopes, if we put a number in our problem, it's going to be our mass number. If they have 2 numbers, one will be mass and one will be number of protons, but this only has 1 number. So we know it has to be our mass number. So then we look up at our 5 and our 6, and we see that our 11 and our 5, and we see that our 11 is our mass. So this one would actually be the correct answer. Alright, please remember these things. They are going to be on your test. Go back, watch the video, do your review. Your review is very similar to your test, so make sure you feel very comfortable with these questions. And please reach out to me if you need any help at all. Good luck, Steph.